Welcome back to another one of Johnny Blaze's Twisted Tales. On this Twisted Tuesday, we take a look into the life of Ron and an unexpected phone call that changed his life forever. So hold your crystal balls and prepare for an unfortunate fortune that wrecks one man's life in today's episode called My Final Destination. Ron lived a whirlwind life in Florida, balancing a demanding job with the needs of his wife, Patty, and their 5 kids. Despite the chaos, he always found time for his nightly 9-mile bike ride, a cherished escape that gave him a sliver of peace in his hectic world. No matter what, Ron never missed this ritual, savoring the cool, crisp air after dinner as he pedaled through the quiet mountainside. One evening, after another blissful ride, Ron came home, kissed Patty, and then the phone rang. He answered it reluctantly, surprised to hear the voice of Nancy Price, the famous fortune teller from TV. Urgency crackled in her voice as she insisted on speaking to him. Ron, a big-time skeptic, asked how she got his number. She revealed she had a vivid dream, warning of his imminent death if he rode his bike the next night. Ron scoffed, calling her a lunatic, and hung up, but her frantic words echoed in his mind. Despite the unsettling call, Ron told Patty everything, dismissing it as nonsense. The next evening at dinner, Patty and the kids begged him to skip his ride just for one night. Determined and stubborn, Ron refused. After dinner, he hugged his children and kissed Patty, feeling her grip tighten, sensing her unspoken fear. As he rode off, Patty's unease grew into a gnawing dread. Deep down, she feared the worst. The weather was perfect, the ride routine. Less than a mile from home, Ron felt triumphant, sure that the fortune teller was wrong. He saw his family waiting for him to enter the driveway. They had the same look of relief on their faces that Ron had felt. Ron started riding quicker towards home with his head up high, feeling victorious when suddenly a car swerved into his path. The headlights blinded him as a drunk driver barreled down the road. Patty and the kids screamed for Ron to watch out. Ron, blinded and unable to do anything, had the worst feeling in his gut. Then, Ron's life flashed before his eyes. Ron came back to reality in time to see the hood of the car heading for the front wheel of his bike. He also noticed the drunk driver of the car sleeping. At the last second, the drunk man's head popped up and awake. Still drunk, he veered the car away from Ron, smashing right into a telephone pole. Ron, trembling, realized how lucky he was and looked over at his family. They were running to him, as happy as he was that he survived the wreck. Ron stared at his family running to him as he heard a big crack. The pole the drunk man crashed into broke and began to fall. He jumped off his bike, trying to scramble to safety, but stumbled. Ron fell to the ground, looking up at the pole falling straight towards him. The pole came down with the force of a jetliner, crashing down on the bike centimeters from Ron's body. Heart pounding, Ron got to his feet and took off running towards the house. All he could think was how close he was to safety and how he had escaped death twice. He could hear his wife and 5 kids screaming for him to get to safety inside the house. Ron wasn't arguing as he hurled through his front yard. Ron ran up onto his front porch, beyond thankful he made it safe, and grabbed for the handle on the door. As Ron's hand grabbed the handle and he started turning it, he heard a huge explosion behind him. The car behind him had violently exploded. A sickening thud came from the back of Ron's skull, echoing loudly inside his head, as a piece of burning shrapnel pierced through the back of his head and slammed out through his eye socket. Staggering, he touched his head, blood seeping through his fingers. The realization hit him, the fortune teller had been right and his life was now over. Collapsing, Ron's vision blurred as he saw his family's tearful faces. His final thought was a bitter regret for not heeding the warning. As his life ebbed away, the world around him faded into darkness, leaving his family crying over his lifeless body, the night filled with their heart-wrenching sobs. Ron's last breath marked the tragic end of a life cut short by a fate he refused to believe. Thank you, Twisted viewers, for watching this week's Twisted Tale, My Final Destination. Ron thought he could change fate and paid the ultimate price. If you liked hearing Ron's twisted fate, like, share, and subscribe to help my channel grow, and hit that bell icon to hear more twisted fates unlike any other you ever heard. And if you ever find yourself riding a bike, always remember the unfortunate fate of Ron if someone tries to stop you from going.